Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Kariem. Welcome to the spot. Got my co-host Damian Ware here.
Good evening, good evening.
Dame, major stuff jumping off. Got a chance to be able to enjoy. Before we even get into that, I was looking at breaking news today. Your boy Putin.
Uh-oh.
I see he fired back over there. Yeah, 2 ballistic missiles.
Yeah?
Shot off 2 ballistic missiles that came through this morning. Blasted a military training facility nearby a hospital. Tuesday in Ukraine, that was this morning. Killed 51 people, injured like 200.
Because I saw some headlines that Ukraine was asking permission to hit Russian targets in Russia.
In Russia. And see, that's the thing. It's like they gotta allow them. I don't know, but you got the handcuffs on them. I don't know if they saving that just to be able to make sure some things go on before, or after the election. Because somebody got to deal with that. Whoever's the next president, they got to deal with that. Are they setting it up to where right before the election, they'll go in? Remember last time, before the election, they went in and snatched your boy Osama bin Laden up right before the election.
Right.
So that swung momentum from a military standpoint. It's like, what can you say about us now?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. We're going to go ahead and give a shout out because this is going to be interesting. Go ahead and get our sponsor out the way. Upper Room Apparel. Knock that out. And let me go right back into the Democratic Convention last week. Got a chance to check it out?
Yeah, definitely.
What's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts?
I felt like, my opinion was that they had a different energy than what you saw at the Republican National Convention.
Totally different energy.
Totally different.
Different
you felt
vibe.
that same?
Amazingly. I think that the Democratic, and we talked about this, the Democratic Convention seemed like it encompassed, it was a microcosm of what America looked like.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Everybody was represented.
Yep.
It seemed like every tax bracket was represented. When I watched the RNC, watched every day, every minute.
Right.
Same as I did the DNC, every day, every minute. And the RNC, man, it was, I didn't fit there.
Didn't fit at all.
I didn't feel, I was at home watching it.
Yeah.
And I still felt uncomfortable, like I don't belong here.
Like this ain't the party, this ain't my message here.
Right. Nobody said anything to me the whole 4 days.
That's a lot, because I think during the Democratic Convention, the thing I was noticing was, as you said, the variety, the diversity, and you had all walks of life, all different types of people. It was young, middle, older. It was just a wide array of what America looked like. And I think that they're doing a good job of speaking to all those demographics at one time.
Well, hey, let's peel this thing apart, man. Hosted by your boy Barry. Nobody gonna say it.
In Chicago?
In Chicago, man. You go ahead to the Democratic Convention right there in Chicago where Barack from. You know he just set the whole thing up. Call Jordan up. Can we get the United Center? We'll take care of it. You know what I'm saying? We'll make sure we're gonna pack it out just like you used to pack it out. And then we're gonna give it right back to you the way that we got it. Day one, hitters. Hitters all the way through. Every speaker, now I'm not talking about being emotionally moved by a word that, kind of like being in church or something. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about a masterful execution of delivering a message, hitting your points. Who is the demographic I'm supposed to hit? I knocked him, I hit him right between the eyes. with my message that I was assigned to deliver to that demographic.
Oh,
What you think?
I think I agree with that. I think I heard him saying that the Democratic Party is a unit. They like an all-star team versus the Republicans is MAGA, is Trumpism, is Trump.
Yeah.
But the Democrats are
Straight
giving
Philly
you
76ers with Allen Iverson out there and
versus,
no help.
Yeah. And then these cats out here got multiple players. They got a super
Dream team, 92 Dream team.
That's what it looked like.
Day 2, Barack and Michelle came in on day 2. I thought it was a mistake at first. I said, okay, because when we watch the conventions, the speakers build up
Right.
to the
Right.
So I'm thinking that this is before it started. I'm thinking, Barack and Michelle is going to speak. Let's get them kind of late towards. They might be on day 4, and that day 4 lineup is going to be a beast. But they pulled Barack and Michelle out on Tuesday, second day of the convention with 2 days left.
Yeah.
What's the thought behind that?
I think that they knew, first of all, you unleashing the Jordan of politics in the United Center. You can't put them on day 3 and 4 because you got Waltz on day 3, Kamala on day 4.
Shadow too big?
You can't put
gonna
Michelle
cast
and
too big
Barack.
of a shadow?
Yeah, man, they too big. Go ahead and put them on day 2.
I thought the same thing, but we're going to put a pin in that. All right? We're going to put a pin in that one.
Throw a pin in him.
Day 3, we get Bill, Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about Hillary.
Oh man,
Hillary is.
Yeah, he'll put
She's
it
a
down.
technician. I forgot that Hillary is the smarter one between her and Bill.
Yeah, definitely.
Bill pick up that saxophone and you kind of forget. It cover up a lot of flaws.
What'd you think about Bill? What'd you think about him? What was his purpose in being one of the keynote speakers?
Bill was supposed to be that person who was supposed to do some dirty work on Trump.
Yeah.
He was supposed to kind of come in and throw some jabs and hit Trump right in the face.
Yeah.
That was his job. I think Bill's reflex is a little slow though.
Yeah.
You got to put Bill into that mode where he's the sensible voice in the room.
Right.
He's calm. He's not really going to talk with a lot of high octaves.
Right.
He's going to give you something that you need to think about. But if you're into the rah, want to cheer, Bill's not your guy.
Bill not the guy.
Bill is giving you some stuff to where you notice he had to kept on saying, hold up, listen.
Yeah.
See, Bill I ain't got to my point
Yeah.
yet. I know that if you missing this point right
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
you're not going to get my point
Yeah,
in the end.
yeah.
That's where Bill was at. He's a technician with it. He's good.
Definitely.
And then Tim Walz. In day 3, Tim Walz came in.
Yeah.
What do you think? That's your first time seeing him? That wasn't your first time seeing him speak?
No, that was my first time seeing him speak like in that magnitude.
Okay.
Not just the little clips. That was
Okay.
my first time.
What you think?
So I Coach Waltz. He came out with the coach. He talked. He even went and gave him the game day game plan down towards the end.
Yeah.
So I thought he did a great job. Of like kind of. He brought some motivation. He brought some excitement.
Yeah.
But he brought some normalcy, like an everyday
He's
dude.
an everyday guy.
Yeah, everyday dude.
Tim Walz was that dude, and I was looking at YouTube videos with this dude, and he's showing how to fix their car. And they'll charge you $400, but it's just this little piece right here. You see this little piece? You can get it at.
Wow.
Just
how to
go
fix
there,
their car.
How to fix their car. It's just a
Just
little
some
fuse.
everyday stuff.
It's just a little fuse. You take it, you go in, you unplug it. This right here, you can get it at AutoZone for maybe about $5. He's giving that type of. He's an everyday dude.
I agree.
They want to make him big time. He's not a big time guy.
Nope.
He definitely knocked the ball out. He came in and did his job. I'm gonna tell you, he got up. Boom, boom, boom. This is who I am. These are my points. And I like the thing about him is that everything that he talked about was defending Kamala's position.
Yeah, he did a great job.
He wasn't
of that.
really talking about him.
Nope.
Usually you trying to keep the reins on your vice president Like, this ain't your show.
Right.
You didn't have to do that with him.
No.
And he's genuinely, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
just trying to support, play the background, and he's the bulldog.
What you mean by that?
He's the one that got the knuckles on
Yeah.
in the fight. He's not the one that's trying to break the fight up and make sure.
See that.
That's the demeanor that he carries. He's an everyday guy. He seems nice. You don't hear him using any profanity and that type of thing. But he's that guy that'll walk up to you and punch you in the face and say, "Go home."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
And he does a good job at it.
Even your boy Barack was like, he talked about Tim Walsh wearing the flannels.
Yeah.
He was like, he really wear them.
Those,
like, them
those are really his.
Yeah.
He didn't get those at Walmart last week.
Like, that's in his closet.
That's in his closet, and he getting wear and tear out. And they
Yeah.
put it on his wife, and his wife was like, yeah.
Yeah.
those
Like,
is
and you
his.
could tell those flannels been through some things, Barack said.
Right. And they have. It's good stuff, man. Day 4, Kamala Harris. Now, this is where the logic of Michelle's going to cast a big shadow. This is where I was surprised, because Kamala, she overperformed.
Yeah.
She impressed me. I didn't think she had that in her. She actually morphed into a leader.
Yeah. Quickly.
You can you can tell that her wheelhouse is that judicial piece.
Yep.
The courtroom.
Yep.
The law.
Yep.
You talking about the Republican Party is the law
Party of law.
law and order, but they don't have it.
Right.
Listening to her speak, when she gets in there, she gets a certain swag, a certain confidence that really, really comes through in her speech, in her delivery, in her knowledge base, the whole nine.
I agree with you on that. I seen her in some clips when they in the House and Senate, and they vote, and the vice president tiebreaker to vote.
Right.
She got command of that whole room.
Wow.
So it's like I was sitting there, I was like, why was y'all acting like this lady wasn't who she is? And then you go back and you think about it, like attorney, DA, senator.
How can she do all that if she is just this person laughing and giggling all the time and ain't never serious about nothing?
You see what I'm saying?
That might just be to get up next to you.
Cut your throat.
I don't know. That's what it's looking like.
That's what it's looking like.
Meanwhile, your boy, while all this is going, like I said, I was super impressed with the Democratic Party and their execution for the Democratic Convention. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a couple of those speakers who seemed like they were still on the old school stuff. I probably would have X'd them because they was getting personal with it. And it seems like the theme of the convention was, we're not going to get down in the mud with Trump. Yeah. And so it was a couple of them that kind of slipped back into that and wanted to throw and make it personal and throw some jabs. I'm sure they probably got some battle scars from where, they kind of engaged Trump in the past. But at the same time, it kind of started to take away from the theme of the event, from the niceness of the event. You had the Obamas in there, black royalty, we say again, black royalty, and it kind of went, everybody was kind of going to say, this is the level that we're going to stay at right here. I'm setting the pace right here. That was the pace car right there.
Yeah. Set
the pace, and everybody was supposed to follow that. I would give him an A- though on the whole convention as a whole.
A-?
A-.
So, okay, so you gave them an A-. Not to go back, what did you give the RNC?
RNC, I would have been D, maybe lower. I'm giving them a D just because they actually did have one.
Yeah.
But really, they failed at every level. They didn't give you the benefit of the doubt that you understand what's going on. It's almost like they was catering to a bunch of 12-year-olds.
I agree. I felt the same way. I didn't feel like they were effective at all.
No.
I felt like the DNC was effective, and some of the things that I noticed was the talking points. First of all, the mantra, like the attitude, the environment of joy, laughter, unified people. You know, I think that was a part of their agenda to make sure you set that. But I give them an A+ because, and I made note of this. When I looked at all of the speeches, the keynotes, I saw them blend together their selection of celebrities and everybody. And then I'm gonna ask you something about your boy after this real quick, but I feel like they talking points triggered like a curiosity, because now they got the lean voters coming over that was leaning to the Republican side, leaning back over. And it was on news today how MSNBC, how they even starting to sway Republican voters over to the Democratic Party per the polls. So I feel like they done a better job of connecting to the now generation of people.
You're talking about the Democratic.
Yeah.
Okay. All this time I was thinking. That's why I had that
No,
when you said it.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
I thought that was in contrast to my D. I was about to say, man, where is you going
I'm
with
looking
this
at
one?
the RNC was an F.
Yeah, I was about to say I was being generous with the D, and then you go and say an A.
No,
okay.
I'm giving them an A+
Okay.
on the Democratic Party, because even when you got the now generation of people, you got young people, you got different kind of people. Everybody tech savvy. Everybody is looking to fact check you,
Right.
because everything is right there in front of them. And so I feel like they do a good job of putting a message out there and delivering it in a way to where even the people that was a little unsure and felt like, nah, I'm cool on them, if they throw something out there like the budget or the border bill that got shot, they can go back and look that up and be like, you know what, I Googled that and I seen that. Like, they was telling the truth about that.
Yeah, they are really learning from. They learned a lot from what not to do by watching the RNC. They learned a ton of what not to do, and they really did a good job, like you said, of bridging, because this next generation, those are the ones. They're looking at it like, and like for me, I think with the RNC, if Joe had been swapped out before the RNC, I don't even think Trump would have even picked J.D. Vance as a vice president. It's a lot of mistakes that was made before. Like, he took the money for J.D. Vance, put him on the ticket, and it's kind of like he's having that Sarah Palin effect that Sarah Palin had for John McCain. He's having that. But since he was going against Joe, he knew that's what this dude was going to do. He knew he's not the smartest, savviest guy. He's who he is, and it's hard for him to function outside that lane. But I think that had he realized or was in a position to where he knew he needed somebody that needed to perform, I don't think Jay-Z would have made the ticket.
Wow. Now you was saying something you was talking about earlier about and I know we'll get around to that later, with the conservative party with the Christian nationalism, evangelicalism, and them trying to connect with the church. What you think about your boy Senator Raphael Warnock?
I liked him.
Remember you told me about the preacher, the cat.
Yeah. I liked him. He was solid. He understands how to deliver a message, for one, because he did a good job of laying the base, setting the story up. Is one thing that I like when people speak. I was taught this in lecturing years ago, and it's never failed. They say it's 3 types of people. If you're talking about influence, we're not talking about somebody getting up, applauding, I enjoyed your speech, great speech, and then they go home and be the same person they was when they get home the next day than they was before they heard your speech. That's somebody who's a good speaker.
Okay.
The question is, who are the influencers? Who are the motivators? Who are the ones that can actually get people to get up and take action?
Right.
And in order to do that, they say it's 3 questions that you have to answer, because it's 3 types of people. People who need to know what to do, people who need to know how to do it, and people need to know why they should do it. So they say if you deliver a message, and in that message, your audience is composed of those 3 groups. If in that message you can cover what to do, how to do it, and why they should do it, boom, you'll motivate every last one of them to get up and take action. He did that. Very effectively in his speech. Very effective.
It was.
He got people to get up and take action, and I think that he knocked the ball out the park with that one. And for a lot of your black conservatives, man, we'll get into a show. We'll have to put together a show specifically on the black conservatives, and this is what I was talking to somebody the other day. We was in the shop, and something dawned on me. And this is where I think that the issue is with black conservatives. And we'll get into it, but there's conservatives and then there's liberals, right? And people think that that's the choice, but it's not.
Right.
Because what's the opposite of being conservative? It's not being liberal, it's being progressive.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're a progressive, that means the conditions that I have right now, the reality that I live in right now is not good enough.
Right.
And we don't want to stay here. We want to be progressive. We want to build and go forward, and we want to continue to build on what we have.
Yeah.
A conservative is somebody who says, no, what we have is just fine.
Right.
I want to conserve or preserve what we have. So progressives is always talking about the future. Conservatives is always talking about the past.
Right.
Well, when you look into the future and you look into the past, it's a totally different perspective. When Caucasian people look into the past, they see a time when they had wealth.
Right.
When things was easier, things was simpler.
Yeah.
When we look in the past, we see chains, we see pain.
Right.
We see slavery.
Right.
So we're trying to get to the future, they're trying to get to the past. So I understand why Caucasian people would be conservative.
Right.
Not quite sure on why black people would be conservatives. At least progressive. That don't mean they got to be liberal.
Right.
But it do mean they got to be progressive. So even if they're going to be a conservative in this new this new Republican Party, they shouldn't be the same type of conservative that Trump is. They should be a different type of conservative.
I agree.
So while we on that point, you got your boy DNC did his thing. Your boy Trump, he losing his mind right now. He shook. They got him shook. What you think? You been watching him?
Oh yeah.
I think he shook.
I do too.
He even called into. No, he didn't call in. Yeah, he did. During day 2, no. During day 1 of the convention, he called in to Fox. And he was talking about how when I become president, we're gonna find Barack Obama's real birth certificate, and I'm like, man, you still there?
You still there?
His base has to be saying, man, give us more credit than that. He was talking about how they needed to get Barack Obama's new birth certificate. He was saying that he had got word from somebody that was at the convention that the crowd that they're showing at the convention, that he's not realizing that they're broadcasting from the convention.
Right.
So he's telling them that there's not a lot of people in the crowd, and they looking up.
Right.
Okay, Mr. President, we'll get back to you. Right. We're gonna talk to you some other time. They shut him off.
Yeah.
They had to, because he was sounding more and more ridiculous as he was talking.
You see the word that's getting thrown around on him right now. Unhinged.
Yeah. And that's a good term.
That's a great term.
Because he get to the point to where there's nothing that you can do with him. Just like when he attacked the limo driver on January 6th.
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure if the people that supporting this cat have really been paying attention to him.
They're not paying attention.
Not like we've been watching.
No.
Like we've been kind of had an eye on him for a while.
Yeah.
Just looking straight at him. But most people, they don't really deal with Trump on the day.
No. They're not paying attention. It's like you said with his party. His party said, he said it. He was like, After the Democratic convention, he was like, the party is saying, talk about policy. He was like, they weren't talking about policy. They were taking shots at me. He came with that.
He watched every minute of it. Because that right there lets you know that this dude shouldn't be running, man. And then he go on as Kamala Harris is speaking, he gonna tweet, boring.
Yeah, oh man. This dude correct, man. That's it. He is like a 5-year-old, man.
Yeah, okay. He took a step this week, a couple of days ago, on the IVF treatments. You see that? He totally switched on the IVF treatments. Remember, the Republican Party is not for IVF.
Right.
He not only said that they're for it, but he thinks the government should pay for it. What is this dude doing, man?
He's switching on.
Unhinged.
Yeah,
man.
he unhinged, man.
And the one chick that was interviewing him, you'll see it, the clip is all over the place. She got a powder blue 2-piece suit on.
Oh, yeah.
She used to be in the the Democratic Party, and she switched over.
Is she out of Wisconsin?
Brunette.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, she was the one that was interviewing him. And when he got to talking and saying that, she literally had to sit back in her seat and just start shaking her head like, man, this dude is like, wow. Like, you really blowing my mind right now. This ain't even something that, but he came out and said, gave a Trump, at real Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? He said, under my leadership, the Republican Party will always support the creation of strong, thriving, healthy American families. We wanted to make it easier for mothers and fathers to have babies, not harder. That includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America.
Unhinged.
Like the overwhelming majority of Americans, including the vast majority of Republicans, conservative, Christians, and pro-life Americans, I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious baby. Today, I'm calling on Alabama legislature. Now, Alabama as a legislature, the Republicans in Alabama have already submitted legislation to back up off of it. He's going against their own legislation.
Do you think he's trying to intentionally lose? I mean, do you think he's trying to, because he already in fear of losing. He afraid.
It's his worst nightmare.
Yeah, but do you think he's now trying to nosedive this whole thing?
I don't think so. I think that he don't realize that he's the problem. He don't realize he's the problem. Because you got folks out here, the people around him in his circle, they telling him what he want to hear. If you won't tell him what he want to hear, he's going to get rid of you and get somebody in there to tell him what to hear. He got hate to say it, he got some black folks hyping him up, making him feel like he's the real legit deal.
He do.
These cats don't be knowing nothing about politics at all.
They don't.
Well, you know, I don't know. They angry. They don't like the party. What have Democrats done for the black community? This, that, and the other. They go into that whole thing. That's a whole nother conversation. But it's some detail-backed conversation, man. We need to have a conversation on that too. Yeah. Like, how did we even become? While you running over here to the Republican Party, what is it that made us leave?
Right. Why are we so mad?
Why we not? This is the thing. We mad at the Democrats saying that they haven't done anything for us,
right?
And that we should become Republicans. They're not asking the question and revisiting the relationship that we had with the Republican Party. Why did we leave?
Why did we leave?
Yeah, that's a huge. The answer to that will blow people's minds. So we're going to have to do something and get in on that. But that's what's going on in Alabama. Here's the question. What's the topics? You got the debate coming up. We hosting the debate?
Yeah.
Barbershop,
we gotta do
same
that.
place, same time?
Yeah, we got to do that.
Every 4 years, I don't know if y'all aware of it, but every 4 years in the barbershop, we over there in the barbershop, when the debate comes on, swing through and chop it up, politic a little bit with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have a little something to eat, you know what I'm saying? Little something to drink and just watch these what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first when I was leaving barber college and I was talking to people, they would always say, "It's two things that you never discussed in the barbershop." I was going to be an owner, so I'm asking them for advice, and they say, "Whatever you do, don't discuss religion and don't discuss politics."
I knew they was going. Yeah.
And as soon as I opened, I start talking about
You did exactly what they told
exactly
you
the
not to do.
opposite.
Yeah.
Man, where else
Well,
can
right.
we can't talk about it there? Where can we
Where
talk
we
about
gonna
it?
talk about it?
Where we going to get insight? Where we going to get other people's opinions?
Right.
How we going to know what the thing is? I think they just don't want us to really get into that game
They
in
don't.
the first place.
They don't. I agree.
In the worst place is to have you talking about it in an environment that they
Right.
not at, where they can kind of
Right.
move the conversation.
Yeah,
So I was like, nah, man, we going to make the shop a safe place for people to come, learn more, ask questions, that
That's
whole
dope.
thing. So
That's dope.
we got a couple of things that she needs to, as we knock this thing out, man. There's a couple of things that she needs to do in this debate in order to have a good day, to deliver on what because the tee, the ball is teed up for her.
Yep.
The
It's
momentum
hers
is
to
going
lose.
in her favor. Swing states, she got to get the swing states. Battleground states,
Yeah.
she's got to make some impression on them, and this debate is going to be a way
It
to do
is.
it. So how does she do that? First of all, what's the topics that she got to talk about? She got to do.
I think she definitely got to stay homed in on that women's reproductive rights.
Got that.
Definitely got to lead with
role.
that.
Yeah.
Also, she got to continue with a progressive plan in terms of the economy.
Okay.
I hear her talking about housing, building more houses.
Mm-hmm.
I hear them talking about workers' rights, unions, increasing wages, increasing the union wages, increasing the workers' wages. I think you definitely got to address that. You definitely have to address, they kind of titling it like corporate greed, but you have to address this price gouging situation that's been going on. Be
Okay.
verbal about that.
Okay, let me back you up a little bit. You say she got to touch on unions. Why unions?
Because when you got unions, when you bring it, the more you create unions in the states, you get rid of the right to work stuff, the laws that, make it harder for workers to have rights. You kind of, it's a progressive step. And when you back unions, the union wages go up, and they say what come along with that is that wages go up.
Wages go up, better working conditions, better
yes.
rights for the workers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's a good thing.
That's a good
That's
thing.
something that we should be looking for. Middle class, strengthening the middle
Exactly.
class. That's her target, is to try to strengthen the middle class
Yep.
and save the middle class. You talked about she's got to hit the head on Roe. Okay, she's going to knock that out. You got, let me see, what is it that you talked about? The inflation.
Price gouging.
Price gouging. Okay, so this thing about building homes, 3 million homes, what difference is that going to make?
The 3
Because
million
you know what
homes,
people are going to say. What's the use of building all these homes if we can't afford it?
Well, I think the panels and the discussions, the chatter that's being heard in terms of that strategy is from the younger generations.
Okay.
They've been complaining about housing, rent, housing. And they already was talking about a new trend that would be coming into the country where more homes would be built for rent.
Right.
And so I think, that helps tie into the economics of that demographic. And so,
Yeah. Now, interesting thing though, more homes built for rent, but she kind of has a dual program coming on where she's on this hand, she's building 3 million homes, but on this hand, she's encouraging first-time buyers by giving them a $25,000 towards their down payment to encourage them on buying a home. So the idea is not necessarily to create a class of renters, but to create a class of buyers.
homeowners.
3 million homes, you're talking about people not addressing the idea or the fact that there's a housing shortage in the United States. There's a housing shortage.
Right.
So anytime the supply is less than the demand, it drives the price up. So everybody's talking about why the price of real estate is just out of control. This is the natural progression or the natural side effect of having a shortage in the market.
Housing, right.
So what you do is, if you create or build 3 million homes and dump them into the market, now the supply is larger than the demand. When supply is larger than the demand, what happens? The price goes down.
Right.
So you're talking about being able to drive the prices down, then put people in a position of ownership as opposed to renters. You're talking about helping the situation all the way around. If you can do anything with their debt, getting rid of some of this student loan debt and following through on that kind of got that roadblock. That's all in the strategic game plan of what do you do in the Senate, what are you doing for Congress. Now, those people on the bottom of the ballot start to make a difference, because you don't want to vote for somebody for president and then handicap them with your vote for Congress, your vote for Senate. You putting handcuffs on them,
right?
Because now they don't have a majority in the Congress and the Senate, and even when they put forth good policy, it can't get it passed. So it's kind of like everybody getting into that mode to where we say, okay, let's take a whole approach to understanding what we're doing from a game plan standpoint and move on it as it relates to that. So the inflation,
you gotta, like with the inflation, you gotta target. She's gonna have to target what caused the causes. She's gonna have to target what went wrong the previous 4 years as to why we in this state. You got pulled back regulation that allowed limited competition, that allowed what's going on now, which is price gouging.
Wow.
That's the grocery stores, that's the gas pump. Tax cuts passed out at the top, $3 trillion worth of tax cuts to the 1%.
To the top 1%, okay.
Trillions of dollars, $50 billion worth of tax cuts to the corporations, to the top 100 corporations. That puts us in a hole when you piggyback that with the pandemic. But the thing that they ain't talking about.
$3 trillion dumped into the system.
Dumped in.
Money dumped into the economy that didn't have an economy behind it. They didn't have a business model. They wasn't revenue that was being produced by a transaction. It was just water going into the pitcher of Kool-Aid and watering down the Kool-Aid.
Definitely.
So if the Kool-Aid is the value of $1, and you add an equal pitcher, you're going to cut the strength of the Kool-Aid down. That's what you did to the American dollar. So you got, at worst, at its highest, inflation was at what, 8.5%?
8.5.
Kind of touching 9.
Right.
So
what caused that? I think she need to definitely hit on those points and kind of, talk about some of the strengths. One of the other things I think that she need to explain is the Biden-Harris IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. That whole thing where they really revived what's called antitrust.
Okay.
And so that's a thing where they talk about the antitrust, the Sherman Act. And so basically you cut off the monopolies, because this is the problem that's going on.
Okay.
And when you got cats like your boy Trump going there, pull back the regulation and give the cuts to the benefit of the corporate people and the people at the top, which is holding the monopolies.
Right.
The oil price gouge at the gas pump, the other resources price gouge, grocery stores, And so you got to tackle that stuff and really explain that to people and let them see that, hey, these policies that he talking about and he trying to point the finger over here, these are the policies that put us in this predicament right here. You got to flip that whole thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't got to throw low blows at him to get him on that page, because he's not going to have a comeback.
You're going to confuse him with just coming out with the data as it exists. Because the thing is, it's been so much that's been passed and gained. Because you're not going to go from an 8.5% inflation rate down to below 3% and you're not doing nothing.
Right.
But nobody really knows what Joe was doing, because they was going out of their way trying to keep Joe out of the limelight. Had that been anybody else, every time they accomplished something, they would have been in front of the cameras, delivering and letting people know. But you're trying to keep Joe out the way so much that you just really wasn't able to kind of explain what was happening. I was looking at, they said they passed what was called the U.S. Innovation and Competition Act, the IS or the USICA, and this was what they passed in order to be able to make the United States compete better on a world stage with the industries that are to come.
Wow.
Chips, semiconductor chips, batteries for electric cars, solar paneling, stuff like that. So you got companies like the United States government put 52 billion in just to be able to get things moving and encourage it. You had companies like Samsung that put 17 billion. They putting 17 billion into a factory in Texas. You got, these is jobs that's being created. You got 30 billion for Texas Instruments that's putting more in Texas. A new global foundries factory in New York State. $1 billion spent in North Carolina for a plant down there from Cree. The SK Group investments in a new U.S. R&D center in Micron. Micron is doing some big things with their technology. They put Micron Technology $6.1 billion to support building plants in Idaho. So these are states that don't got nothing going on but prisons.
Right.
Nothing going on but prisons. The biggest facilities that they got that's employing people is prisons. Now you're going to take the people and say, okay, now we're going to build these mega, I think they said that the one that they're talking about building in Texas is the biggest semiconductor factory in the world. That's major. These is jobs. Don't go back into the stuff that they building down in Tennessee. These is people that's
8 football fields long.
Right. You know, so we just got to she needs to do a good job of letting people know what they have done.
I agree with that.
Great convention, man. Ready for this debate, like we say. That's September, what is it, the 10th?
Yeah, I think so.
September 10th.
You think Trump's scared? You nervous?
You know he's trying to back out the debate. He's saying, now this confuses me. Maybe you might be able to give me some insight on this. The confusion is Trump is saying he don't want a hot mic.
I heard that.
Trump is saying he don't want a hot mic. Kamala is saying, no, we think that the debate should be transparent and it should happen on the fly. We want a hot mic. And Trump is saying, no, we don't want no hot mic. Now, for somebody who's unhinged like Trump, it seems like he would have the advantage. It's almost like when she said she wanted a hot mic, he said, well, why you want a hot mic?
Yeah, that's exactly what
I don't want no hot mic.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He's in a state of reaction. He's in a state of reaction, and he's reacting to her instead of doing the bully mode that he's normally going around like he was doing with Hillary while she was answering questions during the debate. He walking around looking over his shoulder. Man, get behind your podium, man.
But he had an ample amount of time. Everything about Hillary was on the table. All the clips. It was enough study there.
And then he knew
Ain't no
Hillary.
Study here.
He was the
knew
biggest
Hillary.
donor to their campaign when Bill was running for president. He was one of their biggest donors. So
ain't no study material with Kamala, man. They scared, man.
Tuesday night, get together about 8:30. Debate start at 9. Y'all know where the shop is at. Swing by and check us out.
Man, come on through, man.
Yeah.
Make sure Tim there, too.
Make sure Tim there. Tim's going to be there, man.
Yeah, don't let Tim be out of town. None of that, right?
Look, man, no. We got to have that cat there so he got to answer to some of the stuff that he's attacking. You know what I'm saying? You got to answer.
He got to answer, too.
Yeah, you got to answer for Sonny Carlo. You got to answer for Sonny Carlo. Listen, man, this is going to be a good little event, though. It's been a while since, because I got to be honest, I was nervous in the last debate, coming up to the last debate with Joe and Trump. That was
that wasn't gonna be what.
That was painful. So, all right, man. Anything else you want to throw in there, man?
No,
before we get ready for this thing.
No, we hit it, man. On to the next.
We'll knock this one out, and then we're gonna have to come back and do something on these Black conservatives, man, and get some insight. Maybe it's something that they got going on that we don't understand. Maybe we can get somebody that's in the community to come and sit in with us and kind of answer some of these questions and find out, man, what y'all got going on, man. Maybe it's good for y'all to be conservative, but it's maybe just not good for y'all to be supporting this guy right here.
Right.
Y'all might want to go around, wait till y'all get somebody worth your time and your energy and your money. Because you got to, and let's face it, man, a lot of these cats is deadbeat Democrats, right? Deadbeat Democrats moved to the Republican Party, and now they deadbeat Republicans. They not paying they not contributing towards no campaign. Listen, man. You got to do some canvassing. You got to go knocking on some doors. You got to get in the headquarters and do some dry calling and everything. You got to take time out of your schedule and do that type of stuff. And if you don't got time to do none of that, then give a donation so that it can help the people who are doing it.
I agree.
But if you're not doing none of that and you're not donating nothing, you just in the barbershop talking about how Trump is going to win.
Yeah, what you doing?
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, get him out of here, huh? I agree with you, man. That's a perfect term for him, too.
Deadbeat dads, man. Deadbeat Democrats, deadbeat Republicans. All right, so let's go ahead and knock this one out, man. We done with this one. Stick a fork in it, and we will talk to you all on the other side, man. Appreciate you coming by the spot.
Peace.
Peace.